We're back, joined, I'm pleased to say, by Chris Farrell. He is the Director of Research and Investigation at a, well, simply indispensable organization, Judicial Watch. He's held that position since 1999. He's a veteran of the United States Army who specialized in uniform in counterintelligence, a trade which has served him well in the course of his work investigating the likes of Hillary Clinton and the coup against President Trump and, well, assorted enemies, foreign and domestic. We're going to be talking about all of that with him now. Chris Farrell, welcome to Securing America.
Great to be with you, Frank. Thanks very much.
So, nobody's done better work. Not anybody. I mean, even government agencies and committees in the Congress. Figuring out the coup that has been mounted against first candidate Trump, then the president-elect, and unfortunately and incredibly, the president during most of his presidency, then Judicial Watch.
Thank you.
I salute you for that, and I know you're substantially responsible for a lot of that work. So talk to us about this coup. Who are the perpetrators of it, and what was their purpose in those various stages?
Yeah, there's almost a litany of names now we've all become accustomed to. So it's Comey, Brennan, Strzok, Page, McCabe. There's probably 36 names, you know, you can rattle off if you think more than 30 seconds on the topic.
Right.
And, you know, I'll take them at their word. They have text messages and emails saying that they hate Trump and they can't stand to see him elected and they're going to stop it. And
not a few of those came into our possession thanks to your investigations, your Freedom of Information Act, which is, in the hands of skilled investigators and lawyers like yourselves, really an incredibly and powerful tool. In fact, I think you've had members of Congress profess that they're envious of what you're able to do.
Yeah, they are. And we have a wonderful staff, very, very sharp, very smart people, and so they've made very aggressive use of it. We've had great success. But, you know, the sad thing is, if we hadn't done what we do, the American public never knows any of this transpired.
Clueless. Well, that was the idea, obviously. And I want to come to the cover-up in a minute, but just quickly, yesterday, Jim Comey, one of the members of this coup, testified before the Congress about all of the things that he didn't remember about it.
Yeah, the sudden amnesia. Well, I mean, he's in a position now as a private citizen that he's not going to make any admissions. You know, he's framed up the story the way he wants to tell it, with a book and with a speaking tour. And that's his story, and he's sticking to it. Right. Now, subsequent from that to that book tour, all sorts of other details have come out that put him in an impossible position. So now when he's questioned about it, he can't move off of what he's already said because, well, were you lying then or are you lying now? It's an impossible spot.
But weren't some of the things that he couldn't recall actually recorded in his book and talked about during his speaking tour and his previous testimony?
But spun the way he wants to spin them. I mean, look, he sat in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee, admitted that he took notes on a meeting with the president-elect, and then leaked them to his friend, the law professor, who then gave them to the New York Times. And senators,
for the purpose of setting up a special counsel.
And senators clapped like trained seals. They thought it was wonderful. They congratulated him. This is mind-boggling.
It is. So it is a coup against the now President of the United States. And it has been covered up, as have a number of the other things that you have been burrowing into. And one of them I want to talk with you about is the revelation by John Ratcliffe, the current Director of National Intelligence, that Hillary Clinton actually was the individual and campaign organization behind her that started this whole Russian hoax that became the pretext
July 26th of 2016.
So not surprising to you based on what you've done to extract emails and so on. But still, a remarkable admission by the United States government, is it not?
It is. It's very, you know, DNI Ratcliffe's letter is critical because it documents, look, this whole thing was manufactured by Hillary Clinton and the DNC. Bought and paid for, their idea, they launched it, they injected it into the system.
With the Russians.
Correct. You know, the only people, if you're looking for Russian collusion, look at Hillary Clinton and the DNC because their money ended up in Russian pockets.
And so, Chris, and you've spent a lot of time operating against people who use these sort of tactics, this was deflection.
It's projection.
Projection.
It's they're going to do it all and then blame you for it.
Right.
And they're the ones
precisely what they just talked about.
Correct.
So this brings us to one of the people who has not gotten attention, but I think probably belongs somewhere in that litany of co-conspirators.
Yep.
The incumbent director of the Central Intelligence Agency, Gina Haspel.
Right. So
tell us about her.
Gina Haspel's job before being director of CIA was as the chief of station in London. Now you'll recall that there was this Steph Halper, Joseph Mifsud lining up Carter Page and Papadopoulos in this Cambridge foreign counterintelligence thing. That was a manufactured event by the FBI so that they could point and say, look, we have a foreign counterintelligence event, a reportable situation, that then allowed them to import back counterintelligence operation against the president. It was a pretext. It was a legalistic maneuver to launch it overseas. Here's the problem. They couldn't do it without the approval of Gina Haspel. You cannot run those sorts of counterintelligence operations in a country without the explicit permission. Without the explicit permission of the chief of station in the particular country. And the permission is even called, there's a euphemism for it. They say you coordinate the operation. Right. Haspel had to have known, had to have.
And she also was one of John Brennan's handpicked mentees, I guess. And this raises the question, if the FBI was playing this kind of role, first of all, are they playing for the United States or are they playing against the constitutional republic? And do they have a clue about counterintelligence?
Yeah, they have their own agenda. The leadership of the FBI has its own agenda. The institution has some major systemic problems that really it merits the organization, frankly, being folded up. You could create an investigative branch of the U.S. Marshal Service and let clean agents lateral over and collapse the FBI.
Get rid of the dirty cops, and they may not be confined, it seems, to the highest echelons.
It's not, and we have substantial evidence in places like El Paso, Texas, and Chicago, where there's a lot of corruption in the FBI.
Chris Farrell, this is a subject to which we're going to return. Your expertise on matters of counterintelligence is especially appreciated, as is the work you do at Judicial Watch. I hope you come back to us again soon, and we will be talking right after this with Liz Yore, the International Human Rights Lawyer.